Similarly, while I had intimations of feminist analysis as a young girl, I had not yet developed a feminist framework and certainly had not yet encountered the works of Black feminist writers. Reading Wild was an opening into the world of social justice, of clearly seeing a wrong and burning to right it. I often tell people I became an abolitionist at 13. Around that year, we had to write an essay in social studies class, and while most other girls chose issues such as photoshopping in magazines, I decided to write on women in prisons. This was in the 90s. Looking back, I can assume I was influenced by the dialogue sparked by the 1990 report by the Task Force on Federally Sentenced Women, Creating Choices, the public discourse around the strip searching of the women at Kingston's Prison for Women, which would lead to the Arbor Report in 1996, and even the outrage about Karla Homolka and the perception that she was doing unfairly easy time inside women's federal prison. I heard these discussions on CBC radio, which my mother listened to as she drove us to our various lessons and commitments. I remember going to the Elizabeth Fry Society in Winnipeg, where we lived, and asking them for resources about women and incarceration. I also remember their bafflement, questioning if I had a mother in prison. I also remember reading an article in Maclean's magazine, which I found at the library, that discussed mother and child options for women in prison, although I cannot trace the exact article now. I recount this beginning place because contained in this story is the outline of the shape my work has taken in adult life. I do not think it was a coincidence that this awakening was prompted by my geographic location in Trinidad, on my mother's side of the family, a place of home and dislocation, of diaspora and identity, of longing and return. If I did not yet understand my place in the African diaspora, I understood in some way our position of exile, what Ronaldo Walcott terms the Black Canadian condition, preoccupied with elsewhere and seldom with here, 2003, page 27. Embodied in my grandmother's joyous entry into our bedroom at the crack of dawn on the day of our arrival, singing hymns of praise. At the same time, our inactivity inside the house and the circumscribing of our freedom, which led to exploring the bookshelves in boredom, was tied to narratives of danger that limited our movements and delineated the supposed unsafety of a Black country in relation to the imagined safety of white Canada. I can return to this geographic placement and tie my reading of Wild to the uncertainty of the hybrid identity of diasporic Africans and the associated search for meaning. In poetry, with Wild, I also found the language to express issues of injustice that now animate my own poetry. Even unconsciously, I can trace how Wild's work has crept its way into mine. For example, I can match the rhythm and form of Wild's "I know not whether laws be right or whether laws be wrong. All that we know who lie in jail is that the wall is strong." Ballad 5, page 1-4. Against my "I know a man who stabbed a man inside and got sent off to the shoe, but he says when somebody comes after you, then what else do you do?" I can also connect this immersion in political poetry to the figure of my mother's father, a calypso artist in Trinidad who once sang the lyrics "class legislation" and was threatened with sedition by the British government. Class legislation is the order of the land. We are ruled with an iron hand. Class legislation is the order of the land. We are ruled with an iron hand. Britain boasts of democracy, brotherly love, and fraternity, but British colonists have been ruled in perpetual misery, sans humanité. Roller, 1972, page 4. I am reminded of Norbisse Phillips' 2005 description of calypso as a political language. Calypso has the potential of bringing us out of that fugue state where we flee the reality of what has been and is still around us, using the Caribbean demotic, vernacular, or nation language.